I'm Big Bear Nose. It is month 2 here on the ConkRealm Minecraft survival realm, and leaves have started falling from the trees because Minecraft has updated. We are now on version 1.21.5, which brings the Spring to Life game drop here to ConkRealm. And so before we start on the upgrades to our underground base, I want to check out some of the updates to the game. And for that, I'm gonna have to head out. We've explored a lot of ConkRealm, so we're gonna have to go out of our way to find some newly generated chunks if we want to get our hands on leaf litter, firefly bushes, to spot fallen logs, and to get the chance to find warm and cold variants of mobs. I make it to a taiga biome where I get my first taste of the update when I meet a pack of wolves who each have their own individual sounds, because different wolves can now have different personalities. Unfortunately, I don't have enough bones on me to take one of these guys home, but I like the idea of each wolf being a little bit different. Right by the wolves, I find a newly generated chunk where some leaf litter has spawned around these trees. I think this is a really nice touch, and something much needed for these grass biomes that can sometimes be a little boring to look at. And right behind these trees I find a fallen log. I think both of these additions make the world feel a little more alive. And I make sure to take some leaf litter for myself, because when we work on the exterior of my base, I think it's really going to come in handy. And then across the way I spot cold variant chickens, who have dropped blue eggs that look a little more like green eggs to me. I really like the look of these chickens. It always feels really special to me when you log into Minecraft for the first time after a new update and you meet a new mob or new mob variant for the first time. I'm really feeling that now, and the show isn't over yet, because right by them I find some cold variant pigs, which I think are oh so very cute. And through the trees I see some cold variant cows. I love the colors on these cows, and I love that both the cows and the pigs have those extra layers of fur. I don't want to leave these cold variant mobs 1,000 blocks away from home here in the taiga biome, so I lasso one of the cows into my boat, and I begin the long journey home, where he can mix with our other cows and feel right at home. And with the cow safe at home, I head back out to grab one of the pigs when I make an unexpected discovery. Along the shoreline here, I find some firefly bushes, and it's the perfect timing as the sun is setting and the fireflies begin to fill the air. I think these are a beautiful addition to the game, and when we're working on the forest around our base, these will add such a lovely atmosphere. I make sure to grab them before I head on my way. While searching for the pigs, I run across the pack of wolves again, and this time I brought bones. I tame the wolf, and not long after I secure the pig, who is almost eaten by a zombie, if not for our new wolf friend being an excellent security guard. And while taking the pig home, I spot some wildflowers, another ground decoration which I think is going to really help make the area around our base feel a little more alive. And with our cold variant cow, pig, and chicken, thanks to the blue eggs, all safe and secure at home, it's time for me to find the warm variants. The only warm biome I know of in ConkRealm is a savanna biome right on the edge of the world border, but unfortunately it doesn't seem like any warm variant mobs have spawned. I spent some time culling the animals that are already here, in hopes that it will encourage the warm variants of the animals to spawn in their place. And after about 30 minutes of sprawling back and forth from one end of the savanna to the other, killing any animal I can see, finally, over the hilltop, I see some warm variant pigs. I may not have been able to get the cows and chickens, but I am taking this as a win. I managed to get the cold and warm variants of at least one mob, and our livestock facility back in our underground base will have a little more color to it. And now, having almost fully explored the Spring to Life drop, it's time to reveal some of the upgrades I've done to our underground base. First things first, let's drop down our secret trapdoor and see what awaits in the entrance of our underground base. The entrance room has been transformed. The green moss floor and the light blue concrete walls combining to create a look reminiscent of the outside world, with white concrete adorning the walls as clouds. The opening leading into the underground base's hallway has been replaced by a piston door made out of logs, with 2 log ears in the corners and black wool in the center, replicating the look of our bare base, A welcoming entrance leading into a very unwelcoming, sterile hallway, with pure white walls made out of quartz blocks, broken up only by sea lanterns for lighting. There are levers on either side of the entrance for easy access and easy exits. This piston door was probably the hardest thing I've done on ConkRealm so far, including that Bastion Remnant I raided last week. I have absolutely no redstone experience, and so I followed a tutorial here on YouTube by Taffy. A simple tutorial for a simple piston door, and I still really struggle to follow it. But after some trial and error, I was able to get it working and linked it up to the lever, and now we have a much more stylish way of entering our underground base from down here in the entrance, and I'm really proud of myself for that. Now, onto the next room, our farm. No longer is our farm a grey room with one big wheat plot. The room, just like the entrance, has an aesthetic reminiscent of the outside world. On the left there is a semi-automatic wheat farm. I used a design by Treasure Toad here on YouTube, which helps streamline the process of collecting our wheat. If I go ahead and press this wood button, dispensers at the back of the farm release water from water buckets, which clear out all of the fully grown wheat, which thanks to the flow of the water, travels down towards a row of hoppers, which send the wheat directly into a double chest. I can then press the button again to get rid of the water, and the only manual part of this whole process is that I have to replant the seeds by hand. Still, this makes life a little easier than it was before, and so I'm very glad to have it. And on the right we have plots for the rest of our crops. These farms are entirely manual, but we now have an endless supply of carrots, potatoes, melons and pumpkins, as well as beetroot. On to the next room, it's time to check on our animals in our livestock facility. Ali, our cherished ally, is here to keep an eye on the animals, and as before we have our cows, our fluffy white sheep, our pink pigs along with our cold and warm variants, and we have a chicken pen, where our white chicken and our cold variant chicken are caged together. For the walls I experimented with blue wool, blue terracotta, and eventually landed on blue concrete, which fits perfectly for the blue sky. I chose this aesthetic for the entrance, the livestock facility, and our farm, because I wanted these 3 rooms to feel disarming. Someone who's just entered the underground base for the first time is met with bright colors and has no idea what they're about to walk into. The animals are in a bright colorful room which reminds them of the farm up above on the surface, and the farmer picking the crops feels like it's just another day. Maybe the crops even feel like they're being exposed to real sunlight. This is in contrast to the cold, hard white walls of the hallway outside and some of the other rooms that we're going to be building, because this underground facility is meant to feel like a doomsday bunker. Like you can enter but you never have to leave. Fully sustainable with everything you need. But there may be secrets hiding behind some corners. Laboratories, secret projects. It's meant to feel a little unnatural, a little unwelcoming, a little inhumane. So those sky blue walls and those mossy grass floors, they might look a little cheap, a little tacky, because that's exactly the vibe that we're going for this underground facility. And most importantly, the functionality of these rooms has been upgraded. Now how about that long, white, sterile hallway? I was pretty set on using nether quartz for the walls, so I spent a good while in the nether, gathering as much as I could, and the walls came together pretty quickly. But for lighting, I didn't want to use torches, I didn't want to use stroom lights, and I don't have access to frog lights. So I had to find sea lanterns. And that was a whole journey of its own. First, I had to spend some time fishing, for the first time on ConkRealm, to get my hands on a pufferfish. With pufferfish on hand, I created a brewing stand, and brewed some potions again for the very first time on ConkRealm, creating potions of water breathing, adding some redstone to extend their time, and then using some golden carrots to create potions of night vision. But it's not the dark of the night that we need some extra help seeing, it's deep underwater in the nearby ocean monument. I'm hit by debuffs as I make my way inside. The ocean monument has many treasures, sponges, gold, and a whole lot of prismarine, but I'm here for none of that. I'm here just for the sea lanterns. If I want to be able to mine them, I'm gonna have to kill the 3 Elder Guardians. And that's something I'm a little afraid of. These guys feel like a step up from the piglins we fought at the Bastion Remnant last week. But I have my full netherite armor, my netherite sword, my bow, and enough water breathing potions that there's no risk of me drowning down here. And honestly, the Elder Guardians turn out to be no problem at all. I'm definitely over-equipped, and I managed to take down the first one pretty quickly and pretty easily. And with the first one down, the second one follows. And the third and final Elder Guardian follows soon after that. And now, before my potions of water breathing run out, I gather as many sea lanterns as I possibly can. And I head out of the ocean monument, hopefully for the last time, having conquered it and with dozens of light sources in hand. And thus we have our perfectly lit hallway. And before we wrap up this week on ConkRealm, there's one last thing I want to upgrade. To get to our zombie spawner XP farm, it's a long trek through a tight tunnel, so I'm expanding the tunnel and using the rails from the abandoned mineshaft in the cave nearby to build a railway that'll take us directly from our base to the XP farm in just a few seconds time. And now, while there's still a lot of work to do to the XP farm and the tunnel that connects it to our base aesthetically, whenever I'm done punching zombies, it's a little easier for me to get home. That is everything I worked on this week on ConkRealm. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode. I hope you like what I came up with, and I hope you'll stay tuned to see what I come up with next week. Although you're gonna have to wait a little longer than that if you want to see what's behind the door at the end of the hallway. You can check out Conk87's channel in the description. And until next week, have a very good day.